And it was only until maybe at the weekend I clicked the hashtag, and I've never seen anything like that before.
It's insane.
Yeah.
It is insane. Hello, wonderful people. How's it going? It's Will here, and we're back again with another fantastic conversation. Today, I'm joined by Samuel. He is the founder and marketer for Be Social Cambridge, and he's used his background in business and marketing to create a platform that supports so many businesses in and around the Cambridge area. And what's so amazing about it is it's a lot of independent businesses. So today we've got this opportunity to just talk about everything he's created so far and the future plans. And I've been following this account for a little while now, and I just had to make sure that we got a conversation in whenever we got the chance. So thank you so much for joining me. I'm really excited to have a chat.
Thank you for having me.
No worries at all. Well, I think we have to start in a very logical place here, as where did the idea for Be Social Cambridge come from? And most importantly, how has this developed as a consequence of the situation we've been in recently?
So Be Social Cambridge first kind of started in 2015. I came up with the idea of having a Facebook group where promoters and independent businesses would just promote their events, have a platform, a way to have free promotion. I used to put on events back in 2012, 2013, and I realized that every avenue that I found or opportunity, there was a massive cost involved. So why not just put some money in, get a group together, get to know the locals, and just expand on it. At the time, it was just a Facebook group. It grew from 100 to maybe 600 members. It was a monitored group, and it still is a monitored group, as in it's only those promoters and businesses that post in there. There's conversations that are built from it. And then over the years, it was just something in the background that I'd just kind of monitor and see what was going on and share events with friends and family and other people. And I've always wanted to expand on it, but didn't know what to do with it. And I guess my biggest influence and the person who I brainstorm with is my mother.
I'm not gonna lie to you, I feel exactly the same way. I feel maybe the connection of family, or just even, do you find that your mum is almost quite business savvy herself? Like it's
yeah, she's been someone she's never restricted my creative capabilities. She's always said, use your imagination, use your creative mind, but take it in steps, baby steps. She always keeps telling me baby steps, because I'm buzzing all over.
I bet.
And it then came to, I think, it's 2019?
Yeah, it would have been.
And then I had the idea of, I want to do something, I want to make a difference. I've had contract roles in all my previous jobs. There was nothing that was really steady. And I wanted to think that, maybe I could run my own business one day, but I need to start somewhere. So let's expand Be Social Cambridge. Let's get a website up. And it was going to be, again, a platform for these promoters and businesses. I then researched into website builders, advertising, kind of just market research all throughout Cambridgeshire and beyond. And again, discussing this all with my mother. I do presentations on the TV, she'll remember it.
Yes.
And she loved it. She loved every bit of it. She would suggest small little tweaks, which ended up making a massive difference. And
I feel like when you're taking the small steps as well, it is those sort of real small changes that actually can have these significant impact on the whole direction of an idea.
And she keeps every big idea I had, she kept on reminding me, bringing me back to ground of, you make these strategies for the employers you work for, do one for yourself. Take the time with it. And then I had the idea of April 1st to launch the website, but then unfortunately the big pandemic happened and we got into a lockdown. No one knew what was going on. And then I think it was someone that I was just talking to, maybe a friend of a friend, suggested, why don't you just do a directory? And I was like, that's a good shout.
Very good
I
shout.
looked into it. There is obviously one business directory, independent business directory here. And again, marketing, business development, there's a lot of plagiarism that goes into it. Not in a negative way. You're not necessarily being a copycat, but you see what that organization's doing, and then I just thought, I can do it better. You're missing out in these areas. And that's when I kind of got the idea of, let's be a business directory, just get people on board, they have a profile, promote it through Instagram and Facebook. I was on Twitter as well, which has gone because it wasn't beneficial.
Mm-hmm.
And when I launched it on April 13th, because I wanted to do it on the 1st, but because of the change of direction,
Sure.
In literally 12 days, I just changed everything. I thought, okay, I need to make this work. I have a daily job which pays the bills, but I took holiday and just thought, I'm focusing on this.
Commit to it, yeah.
And that's when the website directory came about. I printed 1,000 flyers, and then I did a handwritten kind of letter which I photocopied, and paid God knows how much for stamps, and then so I couldn't go to these places and
Yeah,
fly,
of course.
so
Yeah, you literally had to send. Yeah.
And out of I think it was about 600 businesses that I sent it out to. At first, it grew maybe 40 businesses on the directory for the first month. Then within 6 months, it just went up and up. I was up to maybe about 150, and I had the aim of getting to 250 by 1 year. But I never expected it to grow the way it has. I never expected to create the conversations that I have coming across yourself. And
yeah, I'm very thankful for it. It's great that we can have this conversation because, again, as I've said, I've been following what you've been doing for a little while, and I mean we will dive into this big time. But I think you're right, and obviously a directory is something that has existed in its previous light, but I think the way in which you've started to create it feels like your own version of a directory, because it has so many other avenues that it's connected into. I think for what Cambridge is, I think it's a fantastic idea and so valuable to so many people, which again we will dive into. But before we really sort of get into the nitty-gritty bit of it, I want to know a little bit about the logo. So for those of you, well, hopefully you will have seen by the time we get to this conversation, but it's a bee, and I feel that in relation to Be Social Cambridge, it feels like it really fits with the intention of what you're trying to do. So where did it come from?
So bees are the unsung heroes of this world. They're hard workers. They're all part of a community. Yes, there's a queen bee, but each one goes out. They have a job to do. They come back. They just work tirelessly. Then you see independent businesses. They're the same. It's the same concept. They get up in the morning. They're providing a service. It's all themselves. They don't have the big corporate kind of people.
The net almost, yeah.
Micromanaging. They don't have anything. They can do what they want. And Cambridge has probably the biggest independent scene that I've seen throughout all the cities in Cambridge, other than London, obviously. But
yeah, it's an unfair comparison, but yeah.
And I've always kind of thought of these independent organizations, businesses, the freelancers, the small little home baker, macrame artist, everyone, they're the unsung heroes. So I thought, well, bees, independent, it comes together. And then I thought, well, with the name Be Social Cambridge, again, you're socializing. Bees socialize within their own groups. It just all fitted together. The original logo was of King's College, because it's iconic Cambridge with the punt and everything. But I noticed over the time that loads of, my collaborators, the business owners, they just love the bee. They want the bee. And now it's with the rebranding and new developments happening as of next month. The bee is now the main focus, and it's so unique and iconic that now everyone can recognize that as Be Social Cambridge.
Exactly. I think it's already so familiar with so many people, but I think the context in which it's used has made it feel like it's properly a unique thing to your business. And yeah, there is, I think the social aspect as well for me is something that I really sort of clocked onto there, and this being interconnected to so many other different companies and businesses, because obviously, yes, there's a real benefit for each independent business from, you know, potential customers and things like that, but even amongst the businesses themselves, it's helping to create a network of connection. And yeah, it's a great logo to have. So I just had to ask where it came from. I thought it was a great idea. But linked into sort of what you were mentioning before with your directory, it obviously started to grow quite significantly. But sort of how many businesses are on your directory at the moment?
313.
313, and that's really in the space of what, a year?
Yeah, just over a year.
Wow.
I didn't have a clue that I would ever get to that point. The big thing, well, I achieved 250 before the 13th of April. I was cheeky thinking, okay, I've got 9 days. Can I get to 300? It took 14 days.
But it still got there.
Still managed to get there. And it all came about through Instagram. Instagram's been a massive help.
Is that currently sort of your main, well, I know it's not your main platform because your website's your main platform, but is it would you say the main platform in relation to social media, or do you feel it's sort of split between quite a few?
No, it's purely Instagram. Every time that I have a new follower, I create a conversation, and I don't do what the bots do with when you sign up, it's an automatic kind of thing. I actually tailor make each message. I see what this company is or who the person is who's following me. I have a look on the directory of seeing if there's anyone similar or if there's anyone who it isn't. And I would then say, you know, thank you very much for following. We currently have X, Y, and Z who are similar to you. You know, how do you make a difference? What could you bring? And how can I, you know, provide you a free service in promoting you? And a lot of them would get flummoxed by the word free, because nothing's free in this world.
Well, that's, I think, been the most impressive thing about what I think what the core value of what you're trying to do is, you know, because you say like the use of the word free for so many people, like this can't actually be legitimate, can it? And it's, I think, you know, again, we'll talk a bit around the other components as well, but it's just so great that at the core of what you offer, it is purely for I'm here to support you and provide those opportunities. It's really great on your part. And in relation to, obviously we spoke about Instagram being sort of a method of communication, but how have a lot of these businesses found you beyond maybe the initial flyers that you sent out and Instagram? Is there any other ways that you've come across people?
So again, with the lockdowns, it was hard to actually go out and meet people and flyer and introduce. Every time that the lockdown got lifted, everyone was busy. I couldn't actually, if I went, for example, I went to Market Square, tried to get to know people and the businesses, and I couldn't. I had to spend maybe 5-10 minutes with them, and that's valuable time for them, especially if they're selling something specific. But I would go out, see who's around, who's open. I would then contact them through social media. I could contact them through their website. If they had an email address, I would contact them that way. There's a lot of hard work, and I know that maybe out of the hundreds that I've messaged, or even now thousands on Instagram and emails, it's only maybe 10 or 20% that get back to me, which is fine, but I still don't give up. I have that every morning. As soon as I wake up, I'm there in bed going through Instagram of who can I remind, and I wait 2 weeks, I send a reminder out. And they keep on saying, yeah, we'll do it. But then I also say, let's have a phone call. I can grab all your information from it, set the profile up. You just need to say yes. I understand everyone has a lot of work to do. There's limited time. And I'm just trying to find a way, not only to increase my awareness, but I want to try and find any means necessary to help them get onto that platform. The website it averages about 144 hits a day, which is still very good. Instagram, it's nuts, it goes crazy. Facebook as well, there's a Facebook group and a Facebook page. The Facebook group's up to 1,800 members now. Conversations are created from it.
I think even what's special about that as well is that it's, this is specifically within Cambridge as well. This is, so although, you talk about maybe how many hits you're getting and stuff, but if you contextualize to the fact that actually it's focused in on a very specific market, to consistently be getting that every single day is a lot of foot traffic.
But I do also, I've had to, over, I'd say the past 6 months, I've had to kind of widen
the net slightly. Yeah.
I have businesses from Saffron Walden,
oh wow,
St Neots, Huntingdon, Bury St Edmunds. I have had businesses from Norwich and Ipswich in touch, and I've said, I'm really sorry, but you're just too far away. There are other kind of directories out there, independent directories, which I refer them to, but then some of these directories don't exist anymore because furloughs ended, everyone's returned. These people don't have time for it anymore, and I did have the idea of expanding to another city, but again, my mother's like, baby steps.
The baby steps, yeah. Because from my perspective, at least, I think that is an inevitability as to the growth of what Be Social Cambridge is all about. Because I think you've found your hub, and now it's going to be such a valuable and useful thing, and you're focusing, so much on it and with such passion, that once that moment comes, there's definitely going to be scope for you to move all around. And I think that also ties in quite nicely to, just this question really, is that, do you think that what you're doing currently is sort of in some way connected into the sense of community, and how do you think that might be?
So in terms of the business side of the kind of community presence, there's a new kind of plan that I've got with the Indie Buzz community group on Facebook, where I'm trying to get local businesses to come on board, create conversations with me, find out ways of how I can make it better for them. We still can't have, a mass event where I can have all these people attend, and obviously there's money involved. There's not enough money in Be Social, but there's Zoom, there's networking events online, and I'm hoping to now branch into that area. But then there's also the customer side, the Cambridge residents, the somewhat tourists and students, more so domestic tourists now.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's getting that brand awareness out there that I'm not only just a business directory for you to find what shops are around. There's also competitions, there's offers, coupons, but it's also, I want to encourage the people to go into these shops and organisations and create conversations with the owners. They're quite happy to have a conversation, I think that's the thing that's everyone's been missing a lot of, is that human interaction, and that's what I want to try and encourage and encourage people to be social.
I think because I certainly feel a sense of community coming from this idea, and actually one way I can sense that is through the hashtag Be Social Cambridge, because for those of you that don't know the sort of the inner workings of the Instagram page, well, actually it's probably better for you to explain. So how when they sort of interact with you on Instagram, what can they benefit from, or how do they benefit from utilizing a tag of you and the hashtag?
So when I first set it up, I got just the idea of, if you tag at Be Social Cambridge, I'll repost it for you. I'm now up to, I think, 2,800 posts.
Yeah,
which is
that's what I'm saying.
Some days I'm posting 30 to 50 posts a day. I've had to limit it. Instagram has rules.
So I saw. It's frustrating, because it's
exactly.
Such pure intentions behind it.
I've had conversations with them, and they've said, you just got to follow the rules. That's what the algorithm does. But I never actually looked into the hashtag. Organizations would hashtag it. There's easy ways to track it, but it's harder to repost from it. So as long as they tag, I'll repost it. I then always use the Be Social Cambridge hashtag on all the posts that I repost. Other organizations, businesses have started doing that. And it was only until maybe at the weekend I clicked the hashtag, And I've never seen anything like that before.
It's insane.
Yeah.
It is insane because to get a hashtag going, it's hard work, and I think the consistency of what you've provided as a service so far to so many businesses has meant that people can legitimately see the benefit of including your company in your platform in the hashtags. And as you say, I was going through it the other day, and at the top it was like 1,000 plus. There was so many, and all of it, it's just so great that your platform has actually grown in a way that initially I didn't think was going to be something. You've now got another place or another location where you can just click on the hashtag, and then you've got because now you've got a limiter on Instagram. You've now got multiple other places that you work. One place you can go to see all these other businesses that didn't necessarily get it on that day. And I think that the growth of that hashtag is sort of testament to the hard work and passion you've put into it. And do you often, because I know it's still quite new, but do you get moments where you're able to just, take stock and reflect and go, actually, I've created something that's absolutely amazing, and most importantly, is helping other people?
Yes, this ties back to my mother. Whenever I see her, she always asks, "How's it going? What's going on?" I'll sometimes, some mornings, I'll wake up and it's 50 likes from my mum on Instagram, and I'm like, "Oh, thank you."
It's an important like. It's an important like.
And she would kind of say, "Oh, you've got this company on board now. Oh, you've got that company on board." Even some of my friends, they can't believe the businesses that I've got on there. And unfortunately, because I do this in the evenings, I do it in the weekends, I've got into scheduling it, I know what to do, I kind of forget who the companies are. I know, no offense to them, I'm there to promote them, but I'm over 300 now.
Yeah, I was going to say, you can't track everybody all the time.
And it's to then find out from others, and even people that I don't know who are friends of friends, and I get to know them and they ask what I do, and they're like, "Oh my God, you're the guy behind Be Social Cambridge. That's amazing." That's when it hits me. And I think, okay, I'm actually making a difference now. And I'm quite humble about what I do. I'm not as visual as I want to be. And I know that's something that's what I have to do now. And I'm quite comfortable with it. But I guess the big problem for me is not realizing the bigger picture of this. But through getting to know these businesses, it's not just shops and traders. I've got business services as well who I work alongside with, and they kind of get to know me, find out what I'm doing, and they suggest, "Why don't you go do this? Why don't you go do that?" Some of it I have the time to do and it pays off, and I think, well, okay, this has kind of grown my confidence in this area.
It's clearly a growing experience, and I think that because you're taking those baby steps, it's almost sometimes that you haven't even thought to maybe necessarily take stock, because you're so focused on providing the service for those that you're with, that actually you take a step back and look at the bigger picture of what's starting to be created. And I'm glad that you did go look at that hashtag, because it's amazing. And I'm also going to do just a couple of things here, because I found through a couple of people some testimonies basically in relation to what you provided to them. So I'm just going to read a couple of them out, because I think it's fantastic, and it's again testament to what you're doing. But Samuel is also very humble in his mission to help businesses, forming close relationships with locals and putting them up on the pedestal that they deserve was one. I have to say that Samuel has transformed the way that we do small business in a year, being another one. And I've loved learning about other local businesses, which I don't think I would have been aware of if it wasn't for Be Social Cambridge. And actually, I hold that same thought, because again, I've lived in Cambridge for 3 years or so, and don't get me wrong, like I enjoy getting out on my bike, so I do go and see all these different businesses, but it's so great to have, in the same way as what Food Stuff are doing, the food courier, it's really great to have something specific to Cambridge where you can see what is available in the local area. But it leads me into sort of my next question of around just sort of the digital development. And do you feel that sort of over the last year, the way that the pandemic's had an impact is it's actually sort of, it's sped up the digital revolution? And what do you think that might mean for small businesses in comparison to, say, a massive corporation?
So I took a risk with obviously Be Social, the directory, with the lockdown, and no one knew what was going to happen, how we were going to interact with other businesses. To see the home bakers, the macrame artists, the florists, the small independent ones come through by, simply tagging, taking pictures, doing stories, doing live kind of videos. I saw these individuals just grow with confidence. People who never thought that they could use Instagram or Facebook or, even TikTok. TikTok's a huge thing now.
It is humongous.
And so many people are having fun with it, and the Instagram now obviously copied during the
reels.
videos.
Oh, it's the reels. Yeah.
And I've just seen these businesses blossom, and a lot of them have come from being on furlough, or they've lost their jobs and they're using their creativity to grow their businesses. But a lot of them are afraid of, well, how long is this going to last? And the bigger corporations, they've perhaps, some have been quicker, some have been slower. We've seen endless businesses, shops disappear as a result. What would be brilliant is if we could get the independents into those shops, lower the rates, boost the community. It's a vision. We hope. We hope that exactly.
That can happen.
But the growth is there, and at the end of the day, that's what Be Social Cambridge is there for. It's these companies and independents can join Be Social, use Be Social as a stepping platform, and then move on if they want to. I've seen some businesses disappear because they've returned to work, which is a real shame. Some have kind of taken it to even like quarter time, not part time. And I've just said, I'm always here for you. If you need anything, just let me know. I'm expanding. There's more opportunities around the corner. Just keep in touch, and hopefully I can, help them find a source and a way.
I think it provides almost a bit of a platform for optimism as well in local businesses, because as you so rightly put, around Cambridge it is a challenge to physically get into a shop, because it's Cambridge and it can be expensive. But I think this growth of it almost feels like the online platform of a business is almost now beginning to run parallel with what they're able to offer in a physical space, and sort of knowing going into it, because not everybody is completely savvy with these different social media platforms. It's that they've been given this opportunity of knowing that, well, I know I'm not particularly great, I'm not particularly new, I'm still quite new to this, but I have this platform that I feel like I recognise. I've got someone who's working there who is all about the people, and hopefully that will encourage those extra few to just stick it out that little bit longer and see that the growth is possible.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm not going to ask you to pick favourites here, because it's not necessarily the goal of what this is, but you now have got over 300 businesses connected into your platform, and as a consequence, I imagine you see quite a lot of different content and strategies being adopted by different businesses. Has there been any particular businesses that have stood out to you, not necessarily for just their products, but it could be anything that they've done over the last year?
So I have to remain impartial.
Of course. I didn't want you to pick favourites.
But I do have, I've called them this since the beginning, the founding members. There's probably about 4 to 6 of them who have shown endless support towards me. They've seen the growth, they've grown as well. I'd like to say I've helped in a way. They'll probably say yes, I hope.
You better.
And but then it's not just from the beginning. It's that some have joined in January of this year. I will mention a few. So there's Janet Fox from Small and Green. She focuses on plants, and she was, I think, the 5th business to sign up.
Right.
And she's been non-stop. She tags every time. She has all the messages for the email campaigns. If I've got an event that's coming up, she's the first one to sign up. I've got new memberships coming. Again, she said, yep, I'm signing up to it. I'm paying the premium. She's got her own workshops as well that she's got coming up. I help her support it. Most places would charge to have any mention in a newsletter campaign. I make it as a headline. This, small and green. Everyone's kind of favorite planter is hosting a terrarium workshop. Let's get involved. I'm going to be there. Mass exposure. Trying to help out.
I think that quite nicely ties back into community as well. Yeah. Is that by you also being there and being present. As much as I'm always a big believer in what the digital space can do for businesses and for relationships and people, but I think there is then another level that's added by you being in physically present at particular places, and it's cool that you're already starting to make connections into events beyond it. This isn't a Be Social Cambridge event. This is me showing support for the local independent places. Yeah.
And it's even with the competitions and giveaways that I've done 2 already. There was one last summer. I did 12 Days of Christmas, which was a massive hit.
So I saw.
And I've got another one that is end of June, beginning of July, £2,500 worth of local independently sourced prizes. 10 prizes for Cambridge residents, 3 prizes for independent businesses. It's huge. And again, that comes down to some of the founding members as well. I have to mention 2 more. There's the Baking Gin. My mother loves his cakes. It's steamed cake. She doesn't eat any other cakes now. Same with me. I only stick with his cakes. And now that he's back in the country, having been in lockdown in Malaysia,
right,
he's back to working, and I'm expecting more cakes to turn up.
I love you. I mean, he had to say it. Come on, you had to say that.
And there's also macramazing. Sophie, she's a macrame artist. There's loads of macrame artists out there. She's a little bit more quirky, and she does a lot of pixel art. I got her to commission a Be Social Cambridge logo. As like a tapestry.
I saw that. Yeah. That was fantastic as well. That was really good.
That actually spurred on the design of the rebranding.
Right.
She had the Cambridge in a ribbon. She had the B, and then obviously social. And I just thought, well, let's just put the B there and have besocialcambridge.com within it. So I kind of bounced off her. And then more so recently, there's Kat Chambers from Catkin's Little Book Corner. She does a lot of fundraising she recently did a big pledge for the oncology ward at Adam Brooks for the children. I'm quite happy to sponsor her to show my support and also to spread the word. Other businesses have got involved. I've collaborated in a way that the biggest pledge gets a case study. The collaborations have grown so much, and it's all these founding members who I highly respect because they've put in as much as I've given to them. I'm not, not to say to everyone else who kind of tags and gets involved, and all the prize givers, I can only thank them. There's been quite a few who have been there from the first one, the second one, and now they're in the third one. They love it because they get the brand exposure. I promise them as much as I can. But at the end of the day, it's harder to put all these prizes into bundles and hampers, because when someone wins it, they're like, oh, I've won this when I wanted that. It's like, well, I have to keep it fair. It's trying something new.
And for me, because I think the intention behind that competition, I think part of that as well is being able to discover other businesses and other products from a wide range of independent based places in Cambridge, because it only takes in a hamper, it only takes one thing. It only takes you to find that one thing in a hamper and go, oh, that is absolutely amazing. And it makes the connection, and it that sense of community again comes back round. And I feel like it's sort of radiating from the whole idea, because yes, at the core of what you do is that you provide an opportunity to promote, but also it feels like you're providing opportunities to actually encourage other businesses to collaborate. And has that been an unexpected intention, or do you feel that that's what you've wanted to do, is to bring together businesses so they can collaborate and work together and get to know each other?
Yeah, so that's the future. That's one of the next steps. I'd like to go into the events area and have pop-up shops and a big market traders event. Not to take away from Market Square, but I'd like to make it themed and get, obviously I'm now up to 20 categories, and I've had to expand it. I've started with 6, and it's just...
Which is incredible. I think that's a selling point as well, is that you go onto the directory, it's not a specific thing, is that you can go on there and find, it's pretty much something to do with anything at this point. It's incredible. And
I've seen collaborations happen between other businesses. I don't know if it's through me or it's, there's certain business owners they have the confidence to just get in touch and then say, let's form up and team up. And if I have something to do with it, I've done something. I don't expect the credit, but as long as I've opened up that path, then that's perfect. And with going into the events as well, I'd like to do like a themed pop-up shop with maybe 4 or 5 different independents who are all connected in some way, that they can then, at the end of the event, do another collaboration online. And
you are radiating ideas. And I think that is probably the most exciting thing about what Be Social Cambridge is at the moment, is that the possibilities feel endless. Now that you've put in a lot of hard work, and it's, as I've said to you previously, that it's just, the passion is so clear, and it's so obvious that you've been working really, really hard. And actually, just out of curiosity, is it just you for Be Social Cambridge, or do you have other people come in and help at all?
It's 100% me. I do have collaborators who, like I've mentioned, the business services, they've kind of come in, audited, suggested other ways of kind of doing certain things, but from literally setting up the most basic website, to the posts, to the graphics, I've got to say thank you to Julie Nightingale. She's the one who came up with the all the design work at the beginning. I still use her. She does a lot of case study work. Anytime that I need a new logo for the competitions, she does it.
She's there for it.
Her area of kind of graphic design's more in kind of hardcore death metal band posters, but I managed to bring out some.
Okay.
And it's every time that, when it was the year's anniversary, I did a big shout out to her. She's been a star throughout it. And again, I wouldn't go to places like Fiverr, or I wouldn't go online and find a graphic designer. I prefer, if it hasn't.
Well, that's what it's what Be Social Cambridge is there to unlock, really, isn't it? It's that there are people who live in the space that you are living that can do a fantastic job for what you want them to do. Yeah, and great.
Even when the previous design as well, from Anna Doherty, I think I'm saying that right, very sorry. I picked her out from just sending an email to my old university, Anglo Ruskin, to the illustration kind of head tutor, saying, I'd like a business logo done. He sent it out. I had 3 people get back to me. She came up with the concept that I loved at the time. And that's how I do a lot of my work. I always go for the little people. I give opportunities to those that wouldn't normally get it, whereas everyone else thinks I need to go to the big kind of
the big corporations. Yeah, definitely. Well, again, it's fantastic to hear that there's so many. Well, first of all, it's super impressive that it's just you that's doing all of this, because the rate of growth is fantastic. But it's so good to hear that other local people are able to be a part of what you're trying to create, and I think that's only just going to continue to grow. Now we touched on this very briefly, but you you basically host awards each year, and we know that there's sort of some hampers and certain prizes and things, but first of all, where did that come from? How can people get involved in that sort of thing? And are there specific categories? And I'm interested in what it's all about.
So last year I saw that a lot of the other Cambridge organisations didn't have any awards because they did physical awards and they couldn't host it. Obviously there's the national awards, the SME awards. Again, they did that as a digital version. But for Cambridge, there was nothing. And I was approaching the year's anniversary, and I thought, what better way to thank kind of those who have been engaging with me by nominating them in an award.
Yeah, showcasing their amazing work.
There was about 38 to 40 businesses. It worked out perfectly. I chose 10 categories. I worked with, I got basically some of the business services involved to offer prizes. And
Which is great as well, by
the
way. It's so great of them that they did that.
And then to come up with the categories as well, how to kind of shortlist them. It was a success. It hit, 34 countries that people voted from. Had over 5,000 votes.
Whoa.
I had Falkland Islands and Sri Lanka and...
That's so cool that you can see where those votes were coming from as well.
There was tons of duplicates. In total, it was about 13,000, but I had to eliminate it and make it fair. I've learned a lot from that as well, and ways that I can make it better for next year. I'm definitely having it next year. It's going to be bigger and better next year, but the things that I've learned is that some of the other businesses said, well, why wasn't I nominated for this? How can I get involved with it? So now I've decided to have a shortlist where they can enter it. Mm-hmm. There's going to be a criteria, but it's a real basic criteria. As soon as they're shortlisted, when it comes to early next year, I'll get the panelists involved, have conversations about how we're going to nominate these businesses. There's not necessarily something that you need to do in partnership with Be Social. It's more so what you're doing within your own business and how you're kind of affecting the community in a positive way. If it's selling your products, your items, your services, that's showing something and doing something. Even if they're not confident on social media, there could be other ways that they're kind of marketing themselves. And the categories, it's not decided yet. I need to find out.
To be decided.
And the prizes, it's all locally sourced. It's not going to be like you win a £50 or £100 Amazon voucher. You may win a voucher for a merchandise pack or a new website or...
That's fantastic. Yeah, I think it's a great idea. Just again, another fantastic way to bring optimism to local businesses and feel like they're part of something, something bigger, and that they've got. It's obviously not all about external rewards, because I think in the same sense as what you are doing with Be Social Cambridge is that the external stuff is great, but it's about your own personal development, how you can contribute to others. But I think having something like that it will feel so meaningful to those that do win it, and it's this recognition that will push them forward and keep them going. Mm-hmm. But before we wrap up, this has been a fantastic conversation. It's been great to see how your thoughts and ideas are developing, and I cannot wait to see what happens in the future. But are there any sort of little teasers to think about what might be coming up in the future for Be Social Cambridge?
So even though I've ran Be Social Cambridge for free, I've pumped in my own money into it. The future is I've got now paid memberships, but with that there's an endless amount of benefits from it, and it doesn't stop there. I'm not someone who, if people sign up now, there's an early bird offer, but if they sign up now to the annual membership, it doesn't mean that I'm going to charge more when I bring other features in. It will stay the same because they've paid that annual membership. They'll get all those benefits, even the monthly memberships as well. I'll kind of introduce kind of new benefits, maybe choose certain businesses to be guinea pigs to get some examples up. For a big example, for the annual membership, you get a 30-second video, which is rare to get for £150 a year.
Yeah, that is insane.
To have 3 professional photos that they can use, but it'll be used on the profile. There's more advertisement as well. That I'm introducing a Business Insider series, which kind of goes a little bit more in depth as to who the business owner is. Very similar to this, but more so a written version.
Yeah.
And again, everything's going to be heavily promoted through Instagram because that's obviously my main source. There's the events that's coming up. Again, fingers crossed we're allowed to have events with more people in the future.
Which I will definitely be there, without question.
And the big thing at the moment is more collaborations. And, obviously I hope that we can work together.
Definitely.
And there's for other businesses that I'm trying to find a way that it basically is trying to encourage people to be social. If it's online, that's fine. If it's in person, that's even better. But, we all have to wear masks now. And
yeah, we've got our frustrations and restrictions, but again, for the greater good, we will get there. And again, with everything that you're going to be doing, I think you're going to be sticking around for a little while, is something that tells me. But just to ensure that, any local businesses that do watch this, how would they be able to best get in touch with you and get a profile set up and collaborate? What would you say is your best go-to?
Just enter in besocialcambridge.com. There's certain kind of categories. There's the sign up to the newsletter, you register your profile. Registering your profile is free. You can select if you want to have a premium membership. There's a memberships page where you can find out what everything is what is included in the membership.
Yeah.
And most of all, the big kind of announcement on the 10th of July, I've got a new website that's coming out.
Ooh.
It's my friend who's a UX designer, and she's got a great vision. She shares that vision with me. And it looks fantastic. I'll show you a preview. There's going to be a preview that comes out soon. It's more polished, it's more modern. I'm not taking away the fact that I've always had this friendly approach, but because everything's optimized to mobile and tablets now, I need something that fits that. And if I'm going to be charging these businesses for, the premium memberships, I need to reflect that.
Yeah, it needs to be a high quality. Not that it already isn't, but just to take it to that next level again.
And if we have a conversation again in a year's time, then
we need to get that penciled in. I would love to see where you've gotten to in the next year. And Samuel, thank you so much for this. It's been genuinely just amazing, and to be honest, quite inspiring to hear you contribute and support as many people as you already have in the space of, I know it's been a long process of previous things in existence before, but really in this last year, sort of providing this such needed support and just helping the little people understand that there is a way to grow and that there are people out there to help them. So yeah, thank you so much. It's been so great to talk to you.
Thank you.
And as you already know, there's a very easy way to find Be Social Cambridge, and even type in the hashtag Be Social Cambridge to see what's coming up. If you want to see more videos like this, please give us a follow on Serotonin Sessions or Serotonin_sessions on Instagram. You can also find us on YouTube and hopefully in a few other places as well. Maybe the physical space, who knows? But for now, see you later on and have a lovely week.